Welcome everyone to Yoga Basics. Today you'll want to have your yoga strap and your chair. Options are to also have 2 blocks. And then we'll go ahead and get started by sitting comfortably on the mat, preferably on some folded blankets, and either with your legs extended or folded. And then go ahead and close the eyes. And turning the attention inward, just taking a moment to notice how your body feels. Especially noting any areas of tension or tightness. And then taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. One more nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck. And the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice, even breathing. Inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or a phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. If you do have your legs crossed and you want to switch that top leg, go ahead and do that. And then we'll begin the warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center and turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center, dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center. And left ear to left shoulder. And back to center. Extend the hands out in front, open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. Good, and then bringing the hands to the lap, we'll do some shrugs. And the next time you pick those shoulders up, roll them to the back. And bringing the shoulders back to neutral, extending the arms out in front, elbows and palms together. With an inhale, we'll expand those elbows out, opening the chest. And with the exhale, folding back to center. Inhale, expanding out, squeeze those shoulder blades. Exhale, center. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Good, couple more. Good. And then go ahead and release the arms down. Take the right hand, place it to the outside of the right hip. Inhale, sweep the left arm up as you exhale and bend to the right. Coming back to center, switch arms, inhale right and exhale to the left. Good. Coming back to center and coming into a twist. So left hand on the right knee, inhale to lengthen. And to exhale, turn and look to the right. Release back to center. Switch hands. Inhale and exhale, turn and look to the left. Good, and then release back to center. If you did have the legs crossed, go ahead and extend them out and then just shake them out a little bit just to get the blood flowing again. And then taking your hands, placing them behind the right thigh, pull that knee in towards you and then extend it out. And then as you pull the knee in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And circles. And reverse. Good. And then the other leg, same thing. Bend and extend. And then as you pull that knee in towards you, hold it there. Point and flex the foot. And then some circles. And reverse. Good. And then coming on to hands and knees. And if you'd like to open up your blanket for some padding on your knees and shins, go ahead and do that. And then when you're ready, As you come into hands and knees, stack the wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then with an inhale, lift the chest and sits bones coming into cow pose, arching the spine. And then pressing into your hands as you round the spine, dropping the chin for cat. Inhale back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do it once more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then bringing the spine into neutral, pushing the hips back to the heels, we're going to come into child's pose. And we'll take a couple of breaths here, and then we're going to move into just a mini, what's called a vinyasa, which is movement to the breath. So we'll be doing a couple of different movements. But let's just take a moment here just to take a couple of breaths, stretch through that low back. Good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Here are the 3 poses that we're going to move in and out of. We're going to start in child's pose. We're going to then extend our arms. Inhale as you come forward, drop your hips, lift your chest. If you want to, you can press into the top of the feet, lifting the thighs for up dog. Then bring your knees down, curl your toes, push up into downward facing dog. Good. Then bring the knees down and then come back into child's pose. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come forward into up dog and then curl the toes, downward facing dog, back into child's pose. We're going to do that 4 times. So by doing these little vinyasas, you're working a lot of muscles and building up some endurance. All right, here we go. Extend those arms. Inhale, come forward. Good. Press into those feet, lift the chest. Then with your exhale, drop the knees, curl your toes, come into downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths. With your next exhale, drop the knees, come back into child's pose, just for a breath. And then we repeat. So we'll inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. With your next exhale, drop the knees, go back into child's pose. Good. 2 more. Inhale. Good. Exhale, down dog. And then with the next exhale, drop the knees, come back into child's pose. Good. Take a full breath in each one. Inhale, forward. This is the last time through. Curl the toes. Exhale into down dog. With the next exhale, back into child's pose. This time you can bring your hands back, stack them, and rest. Good. All right. We're still going to extend those arms out in front. Come forward. This time, though, you're going to lower your hips down to the mat, and we're going to come into locusts. We're going to extend the arms out to the side. Just keep your neck in line with the spine. Pick up the right leg, reach to the big toe, rotate your thigh inward, lay that foot back down or leg back down. Same with the left. Pull the tailbone down towards the heels. Press the pubic bone into the mat, and with the inhale, begin to lift, starting with the neck, back of the neck, the shoulders, chest, arms, and if you can, then the legs. And breathe. Good, and then with the exhale, bring the arms alongside the body, turn the palms up, and just turn your head either side and rest your chin on the mat. And then take those hands, slide them up under the shoulders, curl your toes, push yourself back up into hands and knees, and then sweep the lower legs to the side as you walk your hips down to extend your legs out in front of you. So we're going to do a twist first before we come up to standing. Feel free to grab your blanket, or if you do have your block nearby, you can sit on your block. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. Sit on one of my blankets. All right. So we'll start with the legs out in front of you. Just bend your knees a little bit. And if you can, we're going to pick up the right foot and bring it underneath the left leg over to the outside of the left hip. Now, if that's too much on the knee or the hip, then just keep that right leg extended. That's perfectly fine too. Now, the key here is you don't want to be leaning to the right. So adjust yourself on your blanket so you can keep the weight evenly distributed. All right, then pick up the left foot. Now, your right leg may be straight. That's okay. Either way, just pick up that left foot and bring it to the outside of the right foot. So we're going to be turning to the left. And then inhale to lengthen. Exhale, think of turning those right lower ribs first, and then taking your right arm and just wrapping it around that left knee, pulling it in towards you, bringing that left hand around behind you to support the spine as you turn and look left. Good, and then releasing back to center. Go ahead and remove that left foot back to center, and then same thing on the other side. So now you'll take the left foot, bring my blanket over a little bit, bring it underneath the right leg to the outside of the right hip, and you'll cross the right foot over the left knee, or just keep that left leg straight. All right, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, I'm turning to the right, so my left lower ribs turn first. I'm going to wrap my left arm around that right knee, hug it in, and bring my right hand around behind me. Good, as I turn and look right. Good, and then release back to center. From here, we're going to come up to standing. So if you want to come back to hands and knees, and then step a foot forward, place your hand on your thigh as you push yourself up. All right, get my blankets organized here. Make sure you do have your chair close by also. All right, so we're going to start by coming into mountain pose. So finding the four corners of the feet. Remember, legs should be about hip width apart. Good. As you find those four corners from the balls of the feet back to the heels, distribute your weight. Lift up through the arches. Tighten the front of the thighs. Lift and tighten the abdominals. Focus on the spine. lengthening up from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Good. Pick those shoulders up. Just pull them down the back so the chest is lifted. But keeping the chin parallel to the floor as you gaze forward. And just come back to that nice, even breathing. Good. And then we're going to come into chair pose. So we'll start by turning the palms forward, lifting the arms up just a little higher than the shoulders. And then with your exhale, push the weight back in the hips, bending the knees, glance down, make sure your knees are behind your toes and in line with about the second and third toe. So it's important we keep that proper alignment of the knee in line with the toes. And breathe. Good. And then press into your feet as you come up and release. Just kind of shake those legs out a little bit. And then we're going to come into tree pose. So you may want to bring your chair over if you'd like. All right, so we're going to start by shifting the weight into the right leg. So keep your hand on the chair if you need to. Bend the left knee. You're going to turn it out on that diagonal. Options are to keep your left foot on the right ankle, toes on the floor. You can pick up the left foot so it's to the outside of the right calf. Or you can bring that ankle to the inside of the left thigh. I can tell my foot's going to probably slide a little bit here on my pants. So that one might be a little tricky. Start with your hands in prayer. Find your gazing point. And again, you're welcome to have a hand on the chair. And when you're ready, extending those arms up as your branches. Good. And breathe. Keep those abs tight. Good. Whoop. It's a good thing I brought my hand down there. And then shake it out. Walk it out. We'll try it on the other side. All right, so same thing. So you're rooting down through the four corners of that left foot, tightening up the front of the thighs, and then bending, turning that right knee out just to the outside. And then whatever's a challenge for you, of keeping just your toes on the floor, then stay here, foot to the calf, or maybe the inner thigh. Mine's going to slip again. Good. And then find that gazing point out in front of you. I usually kind of use this as my midway point and decide if I can actually bring my arms up or not today. It just depends. Some days your balance is a little better than others. So just keep a hand on the chair if you need to. You're still getting all the benefits of the pose. Maybe you just put your fingertips on the chair rather than holding on to it. That would also increase the challenge. Good. And then exhale, go ahead and bring the right arm down and the right leg. So hopefully today you're in a good balance place because we've got another balance. So this time though, keep the chair on your left side. And now actually, let's go ahead and turn it. I'm just thinking of something else. All right, let's start on the other side here. So we'll shift the weight back into the right leg. This is called figure 4 pose. So we do this crossing the foot over the thigh. We've done it laying down in reclined pigeon. It's the same thing here. So weight's in the right leg, but we're going to bend that right knee, take your left foot, cross it over the thigh. So you're in maybe about a half squat or so. And then see if you can balance here. If you can put the hands in prayer, find your gazing point. If not, keep your hand on the chair. And just continue to breathe. So you can see in both of these balances, we're doing this external rotation. So warming up the hip joint. Good. All right, go ahead and come on up. Release it, shake out that right leg, walk it out. And then we'll try it on the other side. All right, so just bend that left knee a little bit as you cross the right foot now over the left. Hold on to the chair until you get your balance. Gazing forward. You find this pose easier than tree or harder than tree? They're both different, working those leg muscles. Started that lean and good. All right, go ahead and release. Shake out those legs. And then we'll take the chair, bring it to the short end of the mat and the back of the chair facing you. So we're going to use the chair also for our next two postures. We're going to come into a high lunge. So we've stretched out here through the hips. Now we're going to move to the front of the leg and do the psoas. And then our last pose, we're going to do a half moon. So that's where this, those glutes are going to come in handy. All right. So holding on to the sides of the back of the chair, shift the weight over to the right leg. You're going to step that left foot back. Now in the lunge and holding on to the chair, you should be able to step maybe a little farther back. And if you need to kind of walk the chair in towards you, that's fine. So you're on the ball of that left foot. Then using the chair, there we go. Put your hands to the side so you can lift the torso. Good. Maybe deepen the bend in that right knee, but make sure, remember, it's in line with your toes, not going past your toes. And now you should feel this nice stretch in front of the left thigh. Good. So we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then leaning forward, again, use the chair to support you. Step that left foot forward, shift the weight to the right, and let's try it on the other side. So stepping back, nice big step back, and then bend the left knee, you're on the ball of the right foot. And then using the chair to support you so you can lift your torso. Good, and continue to breathe. Good, and then shifting the weight forward, step that right foot forward, go ahead and walk it out a little bit. And then we're going to actually turn the chair around. If you do have a block handy and would like to use the block, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we'll just use the seat of the chair. So in half moon, remember it's one that you're actually going to turn the pelvis. So we'll start with the right foot just a couple of inches back from the seat of the chair. And again, you can adjust the chair if you need to. But your toes are pointing towards the seat of the chair. You're going to bend that right knee and bring the right hand down to the chair. Now, the left foot, you're just going to step a little bit behind you. And this actually may be a little close, so you may want to be a little farther back. And then I'm going to turn my hips. So now they're facing to the left. And then shift the weight all the way into that right leg as you begin to lift the left leg. Now you can keep your hand on your hip, your left hand, or bring it up towards the ceiling. Good. And this is where the block can come in handy if you'd like to put your hand on the block, otherwise on the chair. If you're a little more flexible, let me see if I can do this, you can even come down to the forearm. Now, your right leg, go ahead and release it. Bring that left leg down. The right leg, when you shift the weight into it, if you can straighten it, if your hamstring's okay doing that, then we'll straighten the leg. If not, just keep a little bend in it. All right, let's try it on the other side. All right, so this time, and again, I was probably too close. I'd probably come about a foot back from the chair. So left foot's going to be facing the seat of the chair. Bring the left hand down, and then just stepping those right toes back, begin to turn the pelvis now to the right. The weight is in my left leg as I begin to lift the right leg. Good. And then again, you can stay here if you can. Lift the arm up. Good. And breathe. So you can really feel those glutes working. Good. And then with the exhale, bend that left knee as you bring the right leg down, and then come on back up. That is a hard pose. So good job. The chair is great for helping us come a little deeper into that pose. All right, you're still going to use your chair. Again, bringing it to the short end of the mat, because we're going to come into Camel Pose, our back bend. You'll also want to grab a blanket and put that blanket just in front of your chair. And then we'll go ahead and come down onto our knees. And you'll want to have your feet under the chair, but then to position it correctly, just bring your arms behind you and make sure you can hold on to either the seat of the chair or maybe the legs, depending on the flexibility in your back. All right, so we'll start with kneeling. Have your shoulders over the knees, so everything's in a nice straight line. And then you want to try to keep your hips, so it's really your shoulders, hips, and knees. But when you bend backwards, obviously your shoulders are going to go back. Try to keep the hips as much as you can over the knees. So in other words, I'm not shifting my hips forward too much. That creates a lot of tension in the low back. All right, hands are going to come back. Hold on to either the seat, maybe the legs of the chair. All right, here we go. Take a nice big inhale. And then with the exhale, as you begin to bend back, lift the chest. By bringing your hands back, you're going to open up through the chest. And then looking up Good. Continue to breathe. Support the neck if you have to, so you don't have to drop your head back all the way. You could be here. The important part is the back, so mainly through the thoracic spine. Good. And then go ahead and release. Come on back up. Slide the chair behind you or walk your knees forward a little bit just so you can come back into Child's Pose. Just taking a moment here. Good. And then go ahead and lift the torso. And then sliding the chair over to the side. If you have a block, grab a block. If not, you can use your blanket. But we're going to come into our bob rod twist. If you have your blanket, you're probably going to fold it in thirds just to give you a little height. If you do have your blanket or blanket block, then grab your block. I'm going to turn around just to show you what you're going to do with your knees. All right, so I'm on my hands and knees. Bring your knees together and then slide the lower legs over to the left. Take your block and you're going to lower the right hip onto the block. And then my right foot just cradles in the sole of my left foot. Okay? And then we're going to be turning to the right. So let me show you this way, which would be this way. All right. So take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, left hand comes to the right knee. And then right hand comes around behind you. If you have that second block, you could bring it behind you, put your hand on it. If not, then just roll the blanket so that that right hip is on your blanket. You want to distribute the weight evenly here. Good. And continue to breathe. Good. And then release back to center. Come back to hands and knees, and then just shift those lower legs now over to the right. You want to place the left hip on either the block or this rolled up blanket so that you can distribute your weight evenly. Good. So now my left foot is resting in the sole of my right foot. All right, inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, right hand on the left knee as you turn and look to the left. Good. And then releasing back to center. And from here, we're going to come down on our back. If you want to also, we'll then go into Savasana. So whatever you'd like to gather for Savasana, go ahead and do that. And make sure you have your strap. All right, so we're going to come into Suta Padangustasana, which is our reclined forward fold. You can keep the left knee bent if you'd like. We'll start with the right leg, place the strap around the ball of the foot, and then just lengthen out the strap as you straighten the leg, focusing on the back of the thigh. And then walking your hands up the strap, pull the shoulders down towards the mat. So I'm pulling the strap down towards me. At the same time, this is where you have to have the correct length here, I'm going to press my thigh away from me. So I'm creating this resistance. And it should just be a deep stretch. If you feel like it's too intense here, then just drop the leg down a little bit. You can keep the left knee bent. If you have low back issues, just keep that leg bent, or you can extend it down the mat. Good, and continue to breathe. And then the next thing that we're going to come into is called Suta Padangustasana 3. This is 1. You're going to take the straps, both straps, and place them in your left hand. Now, very important, if you have a hip replacement, do not do this part of it, because you're going to slowly drop that leg to the past the midline of the body. It's going to be too much of an internal rotation. So if you have a hip replacement, just stay in Supta P1. If you're okay here, you're just going to drop that leg towards the left until you feel a nice stretch here. And boy, you really feel a good stretch in that IT band. But make sure you're paying very close attention to how it feels. Good. All right, back to center. Bend that right knee. Let's try it on the left. Good. So again, keep the right knee bent if you need to. Otherwise, you can extend the leg. So if you have low back issues, you want to support that low back and keep the leg bent. Otherwise, the right leg goes down the mat. You're going to press through the heel. Walk your hands up the strap. Pull the shoulders down the back. So I'm pulling downward as then I'm pushing away. So again, creating that resistance. Good. All right, so coming into Supta P3, again, not if you've had a hip replacement on this side. And then just slowly bring the leg across the midline until you feel a nice, good stretch. And it's not real far. We're not dropping we're not rolling onto our right hip or anything, so. Good, and then bring the leg back to center. Go ahead and bend the knee and release. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to come back to that figure 4, or what we call reclined pigeon, only we're going to put a little twist into this. So take your right foot, cross it over the left thigh, and then we're going to drop the knees over to the left. Have your right foot come down on the floor. So my right foot is on the floor. As you can see, my left knee is bent a little bit towards the floor. Now, take your left hand, place it on that right knee. If you want to deepen this stretch, then just very gently, do you see if I pull that right knee towards me, I can deepen the stretch. If not, then you can just stay here in the twist and just relax. Good, and then inhale, bring those legs back to center, and we'll try it on the other side. So left foot over the right thigh, and then as I drop my knees to the right, my left foot just comes down on the mat, my right knee is down. And again, if I want to deepen this stretch, then I would just pull that left knee down just a little bit. And then go ahead and release. Come back to center. Release that left leg. And then go ahead and prepare for Savasana, whatever you need to do to make yourself more comfortable. And I'm going to come back up to my seated position here. So get my blanket set. So as you become comfortable, and maybe you even just, kind of want to wiggle it out a little bit. Sometimes that feels good. Just relax those legs. Let the feet fall out to the side. Extend the arms alongside the body and rotate the palms so they're facing up towards the ceiling. That'll open up the chest. And closing the eyes. Bringing the attention back to the breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. Next inhale, let the abdomen rise first, then the chest, filling the lungs all the way up to the collarbones. And with the exhale, let the collarbones fall first, then the chest, then the abdomen, drawing the navel to the spine. And just take a few of these nice deep breaths. Focus on the physical body. Relax all the muscles from the feet, all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. Focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. Try to come back in. Just acknowledge them and release them. Turning the attention back to the breath. Again, notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. Give yourself just a few moments to completely let go. And start moving your fingers, toes, then the wrists and the ankles. When you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a fetal position, and taking a few breaths here. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into a seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. We'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.